Welcome to stage 1, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this RISE program. So I wanted to take an opportunity and make a couple little intro videos for you because the material can be very personal, and we're going to be moving and shaking into some spaces that may or may not feel comfortable to you. So I kind of wanted to just start with a stage 1 expression and what that means and where it sort of lives in our energetic body and why some of this is really important and that we really take the time and pay attention to it. So stage 1 being expression is built in our throat chakra. So this emotional body, smallest chakra in our entire body is the throat chakra. But here's what's super crazy about the throat chakra is we, for centuries, have been hung and or our ancestors have been through the guillotine where they chopped off our heads. So energetically speaking, if you don't believe in past lives, which is big stuff, but if you just believe in history, the energy that lives within the throat chakra has been compounded from our ancestry all the way up until now. What that means is most people that were hung and or had their heads chopped off and or were hung because they were expressing themselves outside of the general public's belief system and or they were trying to survive. Imagine that. They were trying to survive. They stole something and they got hung and or their head got chopped off. So the energy that lives in this space has been compounded as a result of our grandparents and our great-grandparents and the grandparents before that. All of their belief systems are set up in this particular space. So our belief systems today are based on what we've learned generation after generation after generation. And so here we are in this really brave new world where we're learning how to express ourselves and actually learning to be embraced by that. Today you'll see gay people getting to be gay, and it ain't no thing. We get to marry who we want. We can have colored hair. We can be and do different things. But if you are likely one of the people that have signed up for this, then you're likely also a person of the 1970s, early 80s generation, which means that our parents were on the precipice of that, which means that you are also on the precipice of this. And what I mean by that is that our parents were the ones that were coming past the civil rights movement. They were coming into the women's movement, and equality was just a major conversation of their lives. And while they didn't all get to mirror to us what was really important or show us how it was done, they were able to tell us what that was about. But we didn't actually have role models to show us what it looked like to be successful and to actually go after what we wanted. And so we're in this brave new world with all this new information, and we're seeing people getting to do what they want. And we're starting to understand that we actually have great big desires in us as well. And so this entire stage, this entire first section of expression is to really move you into the belief that you can be and do whatever it is that you want. And that starts with understanding your soul signature, which is our first part of this course. And what that really compounds to is, as I spoke in the first part about the generations before us, we're going to understand a little bit about your family tree, where you come from, but more importantly, how you digest information, because we're all brought here with our own interpretive skills. So even if twins were born on the same day, if you've ever met twins, they are not identical in their interpretive levels. So while they had the same parents, the same makeup, the same date and time that they were born, they both are actually reacting very differently to the world. And so your soul signature is based on your interpretation of who you are the day you were born and who you came from, and how you have decided to take that information. So we've accomplished the soul signature. Now for me, what the most important thing is, after you understand who you are in the soul signature plan and how you interpret the world, the next part is really who you are. Who are you is one of the most important things that I don't think we really get asked anymore. Who are you? And if we do get asked, we immediately kind of go into this indirect shrouding of like, what do you mean, who am I? And we deflect. because we know who we are on an ego level. We know who we're supposed to be, we know who we should be, and most of us are living in that, and not necessarily happily so. So in this particular part, we really invite in the secret sauce, the thing that is different and going to transition and transform you the most throughout this course. This is the moment we invite in your intuition and your spirit. And what that means is that you'll learn between the two different voices that live inside of you. The ego voice, which is very easy to know, talks all the time, should, supposed to-do lists, all the loudness in our lives, the fear, the scary stuff, that's our ego. But we're going to invite in the softer voice that most of us have had an opportunity to know, but never full time. And together in this time period, in that who are you, we're going to marry those two voices together. So when they're united, we can really work in tandem with that ego and that spirit, really creating powerful impact both in our lives and others. Then we move into the space of what do you want? To me, this is the most neglected question that really we don't ask ourselves enough is what do I want? And I use this for breakfast. I use this on a daily basis. What do I want? And I feel it. And we'll get into the feelings in the next sections. But what do I want is the foundation for your intuition to begin to answer you. And what do you want isn't necessarily this big question, but rather, what do I want? How does it feel in my bones? And we're going to really learn what it is in the big want and the little want. And what that means is the big want is really something like, I want to feel unconditional love. I want to feel secure in my life. I want to feel limitless. Whereas the little wants, which is what we all identify with, which is what the ego identifies with, is like, I want a pair of Christian Louboutins, or I want a really big house, or I want enough money to feel secure. And those are all clues to that big want, which will get explained in this next. The last part that I kind of want to explain to you is that at the end of every single one of these stages is a meditation, a mantra, and a movement. And they're super powerful, and here's why. We're really transitioning your neural pathways. And what that means is that we're transitioning your actual belief system, not just on the outside, not just in the ego, but in our bones. Just like I explained to you earlier, how our throat chakra has been affected from generation after generation, that energy that lives here has to be transitioned out. And through movement, meditation, and mantra, we can effectively change it for good. So if you have one thing that you do every day, pick one of those three things to carry with you through this course, whether it be the meditation, the movement, or the mantra. And if you can apply all three at least, at minimum 1 to 2 times a week, you are going to be starstruck with how much you can transform in this energy space. So I so look forward to you guys joining me in this next stage. Please don't hesitate to email or ask questions because I know there's a lot going on. And for those of you who are doing the one-on-ones with me, I so look forward to chatting with you about the energy shifts that you're going through and any questions that you might have. We'll see you in the next stage. Thanks so much, you guys. Peace in.